All right, we're in the Milano 9-hole cup. Let's see what we can get going on here. Once again, let's just go look at the holes here. All right, par 4. This is the first par 4 I ever got a hole in one on. And my goal here, there's several ways you can play this hole. You can lay it up out here and you got a pretty good shot coming in. I never really had a lot of success with this shot. It was always one of those ones you put yourself in the right spot all the time, and I just never had a lot of success with the approach shot coming in. I'm going for the green in one, trying to bounce off of this island and get my bounces right so you can bleed up in there. One of the things I've noticed about this is if you set it up so that you're coming through this little area, this little finger that comes up in there, make your wind adjustment, it always seems like, even if you add on wind, it always seems like it's off. So I'm going to set it up a little bit to the left. For some reason that seems like it works better. It's one of those ones I would rather take. I think I have just as good a shot taking the sand shot down here, or even a rough shot going for the cup, than I do if I'm hitting over in this area. We'll see which way the wind's blowing. That might tell us a little bit about rookie, what ball we need. I don't think we need anything super special. Yeah, we got a little headwind. We might need something. We might need a power 3 ball. So let's take, I'm going to take my number 1 bag. We'll take a Titan, the king of balls. That's right. Here we roll. Anytime you're on a par 4 and you can get on in one versus taking a shot from distance, I'd rather get on in one. Here we go. Going out on the street. I think that might be too much topspin. Three, 7. I'm do a little overpull on that, just so I can get into that spot. So that puts me about a ring and a half into power. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if we can get our bounces right. It'll probably clip the sand. Ooh, almost rolled out. The deal is I've put on max topspin there. When I got my extra mile to level 9, I've put on max topspin there. I thought, wow, this will be one of those holes that'll be a lot easier because you can put on topspin, and I actually rolled over the green and ended up on the sand on the other side. I've had that happen quite a few times since I got the extra mile 9. But from where I'm at right there, really, it's really all about hitting it perfect. If I hit it perfect, it's going in the hole. Now, I've been in this spot quite a few times, and if you watched my stuff for a long time, I think of the cup, from the flagpole to the edge of the cup, is 4 miles per hour. And this is one of those ones where you're just at far enough of a distance. I usually like, when I'm close, I like to stay inside the cup. But I need to be outside the cup about a half a cup. Ooh, same kind of thing. We'll see. One of the things I like about Nirvana is it does have some topspin, so let's see if we can run some of that out. 3, 7. You're right outside the edge of the cup. Ah, that was like 7,000 rings great to the right or left. It was probably only one, but it felt like it was 7,000. It wasn't perfect. Where that ended up, I have to go back and watch that. That was probably only 1 ring great. It might have been close to 2. If I would have hit it perfect, I think I would have been right on the right-hand edge going in. I think it would have made it in, but it would have been close. Close. These shots here are all about perfect. And I have no idea why you would short shoot a shot like this. Well, you set a shot up, short shooting it. They're short shooting it right there. Now, it's not that big of a deal, but especially against a little bit of a headwind, short shooting it's not good. I do like my chances from that spot where I was at as opposed to the shot to the left. In the hole. Unfortunately, this is a hole that we can get an eagle on, and this is a big hole. All three of these par fours, one of them, we're going to have to take a shot from distance, but it's one of those holes that is very, very makeable if you can put yourself in the right spot on the drive. The other two, we can actually, this one and the mid par four, we can actually get on in one, and that's big. All right, let's see this next par three. This hole right here, I'm gonna use a sniper. If I remember correctly. Okay, so there's a bunch of different ways that you can play this hole, and I'm not that big a fan of bouncing off of this. And this is the bounce, trying to get your rolls right, or even bouncing off of this one. I want to use this rough right here and do a rough bump. If you use the wind ring method and you're coming at it to line it up, what you need to do as soon as you get started is this is one of those holes that once we shoot it the first time and we get the right backspin going, we get the right spin on our ball, we want to keep note of that so that when we land on the hole, we can immediately set the ball up. And then when we do our wind adjustment, because it's tiered, this is higher than this and this is higher than this, and it's tiered coming down, if you're trying to make your wind adjustment from any direction, it's difficult. It's difficult to get this right because of the slope here. So I like to spin around and actually look at the ball from this direction when I'm trying to get the ball guide to go to the cup. And so we're going to spin it around and then work from there. But it's important to spin it around first. I have no idea which ball I'm going to use. I have no idea which ball we should be using. So I'm going to start off with a nav. We'll just start off with a 1 power ball, low wind. Take a sniper. Let's roll. Let's roll. Here we go. Made a lot of hole-in-ones on this hole. This is definitely a hole-in-oneable par 3. And it seems like we used to do a wind adjustment here. So there's max. There's man. I'm going to just do a max adjustment and work the deal so we can see where we're at. Line it up. That's a little this is why I was saying once we figure out what kind of spin we need, it'll make this a lot easier. You can set the spin up and then just go put the ball in the right spot. 3.9. I'm going to do 4.29 rings. And that was an overpull. And I hit it great to the right. That's the whole thing, is there's a lot of setup on this hole and in the hole. So so we can go back and watch and see what I did on that, and we can reverse do the math to see what it is. But that there's some setup on this hole because of all of the it's hard to get it lined up. So once you shoot it one time, you can go back and you can write those spins down. This is a hole, it's absolutely, you need to keep notes on a hole like this so that you can go in there and go, okay, hey, we're going to set the ball up like this. Put that spin on it. Then go set the ball up so that your ball guides go into the cup. And then make your adjustment. I did every single thing wrong on that and ended up with that awesome result. So even a blind squirrel can find a nut. If you can't be good, be lucky. Hole in one. My opponent get a hole-in-one as well? Dual hole-in-ones. Look at that. Woo! Getting the hole in one. Double eagle. All right, let's check out hole number 3. Hole number 3, big par 5 here. Big par 5, you know it is. Okay, so originally this hole did not have these trees in it. And even when they put the trees in here, I very seldom ever encounter a situation where the trees will make it so that you can't get you may have to navigate around the trees, but it is important to recognize that there are trees here. So I've hit before where I've gotten like trying to get way out here, and there's some risks that are involved in getting way out there. Most of the time you can bring a QB, a really accurate club. You don't have to have a big ball. You can lay it up right where the black line is and go for it. And if I remember correctly, there was a wind adjustment we were doing here too. But this is one of those things where depending on which way the wind's going, it's going to affect your adjustment. And it's going to affect based on the clubs that you have. I'm going to go for the yellow line. And there are risks involved with the yellow line. So if you get caught up way back here, you're sunk. If you get caught up in this area, you can recover. The goal is to get yourself right out into this area right here so that you have a short iron into the hole. Now, let's see which way the wind's blowing, because it's going to make a big difference, because what we need to get our bounce over to this area right here so that we can try and run through this rough. So for those of you that have a bigger ball inventory, those people that have a ball inventory are going to have a benefit. Now we've got a tailwind here, so that really helps us. We might be able to get this done with a power 3 ball. So I'm just going to bring a Titan, the king of balls. That bag ought to work. I'm using that Kingfisher. I love my Hornet. Anybody who knows me or has watched my channel, I'm a big Hornet fan. But when I upgraded my Hornet to level 9 and got it to 100% accurate, I just have not had it. Doesn't it feel like, and I've talked to several teammates. I was playing last weekend with my teammate Kevin, and I want to apologize to Kevin. We were going to play the final round on Sunday, and I was pulling out carpet, and I had family members come over, and then everybody wanted to help, and then the next thing you know, it was freaking 9 o'clock at night, and ended up not playing in the weekend round. But we were talking about, doesn't it seem like you almost get that the more accurate a club is, the more precise it has to be, and the less accurate a club is, you almost have a little bit of give, and so you may be more successful with a club that's less accurate. Like and in particular, we were talking about a Goliath. Or a Saturn to be in that same thing where it's right at 2 per ring, right in that range, that those clubs are a little more forgiving than the clubs that are super accurate. Like the ones that are super accurate, they almost penalize you for having a super accurate club. It's counterintuitive. It should be the other way around, but it just feels like that. And my Kingfisher is at one point, it's at 96% accurate, so it's at 1.1. And before you upgrade your Hornet to level 9, that's right where your Hornet was at. And I was super successful with my Hornet when it was at that range. And I feel like I'm getting back to having success with my short iron with the Kingfisher, so I'm using the Kingfisher. Not all the time. I'm just trying to break back into it. It does have a little bit less distance, so distance is sometimes a little bit of an issue. So on those holes where you notice that you either need to get just a little bit farther out, or you can switch. Let's see if this is enough ball to get me out there. It is. Two, three. And let's put that distance back on. and 75,000 rings. That was that. If that wasn't 3 rings great to the right, then it was damn close. I think when they did the club card trading and they gave, because for those of you that haven't played forever and a day, we used to, once you got a card maxed out, you had these extra club cards and there was nothing that you could do with them. And I was okay with that. And a bunch of people, especially newer people, they finally got a club maxed out and they had these extra club cards, and there was the big bitch in the community about like, what are we going to do with them? And so they gave us something to do with them. Those people not thinking about people that had 3 years worth of extra club cards. I mean, if I didn't play anything for the next 2 years, I'd still have club card. I could still compete in the club card trading. And they upped all of the rares they gave them one more level. They gave the epics one more level. Where are we at here? We're at max club. It's 1.1 per ring. Man, it seems like we were doing like a 10%. So what is that? If I can get my trusty dusty calculator out here before I run out of time. 4.3 times 1.1 equals divided by 1. That's 4.3 rings. What was I thinking? Four, 3. Now we just need to hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Just a bit too fast. Slight little overpull. What would that have been? 4.5 divided by 1.1. Been 4.1 rings instead of 4.3. That'd have put me right on track. Didn't need to do any overpull there, but man, it just seems like we used to do a little bit of a pull there. And I had way too much speed. Like one more backspin would have been better. One mo. No big deal. Got the rest of the week to work on this. This is a hole that we can this is definitely an alley hole. Hit quite a few albies on this hole. Between all my accounts, I have in the hole eagle. I think in this account I've had like, what, 156 albies, so my auto account's pretty close to that. Had a few. Not as many as I'd like, but a few. Hole number 4. Let's check out hole number 4. At this point, we're in, I don't remember holes anyways, but all right. Now, there's actually another way that you can play this hole. Oh, there is a very nice rough bump that you can do here. So, depending on what club you're bringing out, this might be one of those holes that's great for a Goliath, because a Goliath might get you into that spot where you're not hitting. So this is all going to be dependent on the clubs that are in your bag and what ball you bring out, because it'll be very easy to get into a red line issue. And I think depending on which way the wind's blowing, it may change that scenario. So you pick one ball and you've got a club and everything's going good, and then you've got a headwind where you've got to pull up against it and you're using a Goliath, and now all of a sudden you're in your red line issue, or vice versa. You're this way and you're in the right spot and you're with your wood, and then you hit a red line issue. So this is going to be one of those holes that you need to be able to, in your notes, you may want to have contingency plans. Like if the wind's blowing, if you got headwind, we're going to do this. And if we're doing tailwind, we're going to do this, so that you can get in that spot, or you're going to change the ball or whatever it happens to be. So I have no idea. I know a lot of people are going to play off of the island. And it does seem here that the ball, like if you're going straight to the cup, like it wants to drift just a little. If I remember correctly, it's drifting to the right, but we'll just take a utility bag and we'll just figure it out. Short. What do I need? You don't need a lot of spin, that's for damn sure. I'm going to take a nab. We'll just start off with a nab and then we'll play around and see what the deal is. Obviously, I'm trying to qualify today because just get it done. So I don't want to time out like normally if I was doing a practice round. What was I thinking? We can practice now. Damn rookies. Want to know why I play rookie? That's why. I'm just a rookie. I don't want to spend 15 or 20 hours. I used to. I mean, playing Golf Clash, if you want to be successful, for those of you that are, have never won a banner or trying to get up to the top, the deal is it's like anything else in life. You're not going to get good at something unless you practice. And you got to study. And it doesn't matter whether it's a game or a sport or whatever it happens to be. You're not going to just jump out there and all of a sudden be like at the top of the charts. You got to put in some effort. That's what cracks me up about a lot of the changes in the game. They've made it because people have bitched about, well, I'm not up at the top, I'm not up at the top. And then they make changes and they're still not up at the top. Okay, let's see where my red line stuff is. So that puts me right dead center in red line. So if I go with a 0 power ball, I got a little bit of maneuver. Minimum club. So 4.2 divided by 1.3, about 3 1/4 rings. I'm not sure if we need to do any kind of adjustment here, so I'm going to do 3 1/2. I'd rather do a slight overpull and not get in the sand. That's not to say that I still won't end up in the sand, but in the hole. So should have been 3 1/4, and I did 3 1/2. Did 3 1/2. So 4.2. Let's work that math here real quick. 4.2. 4.2 divided by X. I did 3 1/2. So that was probably like, what, 10% adjustment? Somewhere in that neighborhood. 2 hole-in-ones. Same round. Look at that. On a roll. And usually, for me, the par 4s are where you make your money. And today, I guess I'm making money on the par 3s. But this par 4 right here, I love this par 4 in one-on-one. The very first time I ever played my teammate Mike D, I think this might have been the very first hole we ever played. You can come over here onto this side right here, and depending on which way the wind's blowing, and it takes, if the wind's blowing, if you got any kind of favorable wind, it's on this side of the line, it takes like 1 backspin, and you can do a max overpower hook here with a Titan and end up coming at the cup. And I love to do that shot in one-on-one because it's just fun. I mean, it's just a fun shot. But when we're in tournaments, we really need to get on and one. And what we want to do is we want to use this island to bleed up into this area. Now, where over here do you want to get? Obviously, you'd like to get on the green and get really close to the cup, and you can get a hole-in-one here. But anywhere over on here on the fairway, even if you're off the green, is woo! That's the deal. Now, I see a lot of people play this hole, and they hit to here. Okay, I would rather be in the rough right there than hit over here, because from here, it's here, and here's the green down here. Okay, not interested. Hold on. All right, where were we? So I would rather end up in the rough down here and go for this shot. Because anywhere you end up down here, I'm pretty sure with any club, if you go for this shot down here on this island, you end up in the rough, you end up in the sand. It doesn't matter where you end up. You can recover. You can't recover from back here if you try this max overpower hook shot. And I've hit this shot from back here in the trees many times. But this right here is really the way to earn money on this hole. is using this island. This area right here, you will never see me demo that shot from over there. It blows. Now, I've seen people make the shot and get the eagle from over there. So it's not like you can't make it. But the deal is that I think the second shot is not worth the effort when you've got a shot where you can try and get on in one. So let's check it out. Let's check it out. Do-do-do-do. Let's see which way the wind's blowing first. Which way the wind is blowing is going to be a big deal. So we got side wind, so that shouldn't be too bad. Let's once again take a Titan. That's right. I heard you guys say it. The king of balls. It says it on the pack. See that writing there's small little script on there underneath the Titan? Where you just think it's just a little highlight dark mark. That's actually, it says king of balls. The king. All right, let's try it. Let's go. Let's roll. Let's see what happens. The whole deal on a shot like this, and I'm hoping that I don't have to pull out a bigger ball than a power 3 ball, but the whole deal here is that you want to pull out whatever ball it takes so you don't have to do any overpower at all. So like I got to do some overpower here. Not much, but a little. So a power 4 ball would definitely be beneficial here. So if you brought a power 4 ball, you're going to be able to get over. There is a little bit of a backboard on this. I'm going to lean just a little. Hitting it perfect. See if we can bleed through. That works. Now, could I get more aggressive and really go for it? Yes. But you always want to keep in mind when you're on par 4s like this, that the goal here is not to go up there and give yourself a shot for hole-in-one. The goal is to get an eagle on a par 4. There are some par 4s that both of those goals collide, where you can not only go for the eagle, but the safest shot going for the eagle is also the best shot going for a hole-in-one. But some holes, especially with that sand there on the right, if you want to really get aggressive towards the hole on the right, don't go straight towards the cup. If you're trying to get a hole-in-one here, you can utilize that backboard. And this is the first time I've taken the shot on this hole in forever. So it's all about how much topspin to put on there so that you can utilize that backboard, so you can roll up to the top and then utilize the backboard to kind of come back down towards the hole, as opposed to trying to get your ball guide to go directly towards the cup. And let me tell you, this shot right here, you can miss it. This is one of those shots where if you don't hit it perfect, it's not going in the cup, because there's so much movement on the course. And it's one of those ones where, like, sometimes you're that close and you hit a great to the left or the right and it goes in. This is one of those ones you hit a great to the left or the right, and it, because of the hill here, it dramatically changes the rollout of the ball, and you can miss. I've missed from that spot and then closer on this hole, not hitting a perfect shot, and you're in those areas where, like, 99 times out of 100 you're like, oh yeah, that's going in. But this is one of those holes that you really can be super close and not make it. Nice shot. Good job. All right, picking up the mid par 4. I mean, if there's low-hanging fruit in this tournament, this is the hole. I mean, this is the hole. It's all ball dependent. So, like, what's our first goal? Don't do any overpower. So you got to bring out whatever ball it's necessary. So you can see right there we had neutral wind, and it took a power 4 ball just to get to the area. So if we'd had any kind of forward or headwind, we would have had to bring out a power 5 ball in order to get to that spot. The goal is not to have to do any overpower on a shot like that, because you can be a lot more consistent. Because with overpower, it's always better to either be doing no overpower or max overpower. It's hard when you're trying to gauge mid overpower, and it's very easy to end up rolling out like my opponent did. Not that you can't recover, but the whole goal is to put yourself in a spot where you don't have to recover. All right, hole number 6. What is hole number 6? What is hole number 6? Let's see. Oh, I'll tell you a story about this hole. I played this hole one day in a tournament, and I was 3 feet, the way that the game measures distance, from the cup, and missed the putt on the front, and was so furious that before I destroyed my tablet, I just got up, left the house, and came back. It was on a Sunday. Came back and was so furious because you just can't drop shots like that. And then got on the back 9 and shot like an 18 on the back 9. I tore it up and ended up winning the tournament. But this hole right here, and it's just brutal. And I find myself in the right spot a lot on the drive, but I haven't had the success of getting albies. I've hit a few albies on this hole, but this is not a hole. I feel like I'm in the right spot, but it's like the adjustment's just not right. Now, there's several ways that you can go at it. And here's another thing I love about this hole, is that in one-on-one, I can always tell when somebody learned how to play this hole from Tommy. Because Tommy's deal on this hole is that you hit over here and then you come at it. And from this side over here, to come at the cup, you have got to be in the right spot. You got to have the right ball combo. If you're not in the right spot and you don't have the right ball combo, you could be in some serious trouble. And if you end up in the rough or anywhere, you're absolutely screwed. Or if you're not quite right, you only have one option, and your option is to do a rough bump off of this little hill. Now, you can see how deep the shadow is right there. So we're talking about a pretty steep hill. Now, you can hit the fairway here and do the little bounce up, but I find that this side over here, when I see people play over to this side right here, the mass majority of the time, they do not get an eagle. Or they have to do some spectacular recovery shot. I know I've seen people hit off of this island, and I'm not really a big fan of that either. Not unless you can get up. Now, if you've got the right club, ball combo, and you can hit off this island and try and get over to here, maybe. But this is a tricky, iffy shot. I'm going to hit to right over in this area right here. So for me, this is a QB or a rock, depending on which one is your flavor, depending on where your clubs are at. QB is going to be the shot that I think the mass majority of people are going to take on this. Max curl. Now with a QB, because of distance, you can put on max topspin, and it doesn't take a huge ball to get this done, but a 3 side spin ball works better. So the more side spin, the better. So either you use a quasar or a katana. Katana works excellent on this hole. You can use a kingmaker, just help cut the wind down on the second shot, and it gives you more options on the second shot if you don't end up in absolutely the right spot. So bringing a kingmaker is not a bad idea. Whenever I do shots where I'm doing max curl, I always like to give myself, on transitional spaces, 3 rings of separation. So depending on the level of your club and how much curl it has in it, you can pinch that sometimes and be like 2.5 rings off. But off of this transitional surface, being 2.5 to 3 rings out into the fairway, making your wind adjustment, max curl, trying to bring yourself up into this area. Now with a rock, it's very easy. You can actually overshoot this, where you end up bleeding off into the rough right here. The thing I like about this side over here is that you have some options. Option number 1, you find yourself where you're a little shorty, you didn't bring the right stuff, you can bounce off of this and then bounce over. Option number 2 is, if you're in the right spot, you can come up there and do a rough bump. You can do a rough bump right in this area right here. This is one of those greens, though, that you do not want to shoot past the cup and end up over on this side, because it's very easy if you shoot past it, because this is one of those greens that it's an old green and it'll slide, and you could very easily find yourself where you started off on the green and now all of a sudden you're in the rough or you're in the sand over here, and it's a max overpower putt from this side. So you want to be over in this area. So let's take let's get our options straight here. I'm taking bag number 2. And I'll have to remember how much topspin, whatever, to put on that. And I'm gonna bring a katana. Why not? And I'm just going to do a straight up shot on the shot to the cup. I'm just going to do a straight up shot. I'm not going to do any plus or minus or any of that kind of stuff. I really think that it should be where you should be taking wind off, because the green is elevated from where we're hitting. But the game doesn't always work out that way. You would think that it would, but it doesn't. No, I suppose if you were playing rookie and you had, let's see where they can get with a power 3. I suppose with a power 5, if you had a power 5 and an APOC, like an APOC 6, you might be able to get past that island, maybe get out into this area out here. Not sure what that would look like, partially because I don't have an APOC 8, 6. I should have a pretty decent shot from there. They're on the steeper side of the hill, though. One of the things about hitting to the right is you're coming at it, you've got a little bit, and man, it does not take, it seems like I'm going to do just a little bit of topspin. Where the hell are we at here? Yeah, just a little bit of topspin. 3 rings of separation. I'm going to actually do a little more than 3 rings. 4, 5. 4, 5. I'm going to do a max curl. Hit it 1 ring great to the left. I could have set that up 5 rings out, and that's partially just because of how much extra distance and how much curl a rock has. One of the clubs that I was like, as far as drivers go, getting a maxed out rock is a huge deal. Like that's a club that you can use for a long time. It's a great, very accurate, lots of curl, decent topspin. It's a great club. When you're coming at it from this area right here, you can see that the approach is not quite as steep, but there's an opening right here, whereas if you're over here, you're on that steeper hillside. When you hit those steeper hillsides, you can get that high bounce like that, where it doesn't respond like the ball guide's telling you it's going to. I'm probably out of position. But you can bounce over. You can do the double. You can do the double rough bump. But this is one of those situations where you can very easily find yourself, if you don't clip it, you can find yourself in a spot of bother. And we'll try it. What the heck? This is my nemesis hole. That was like 2-1. I actually underpulled it. And I hit it 75 rings great to the right. And I'm going to end up in okay shape. Originally, this is one of the holes right here where I was always trying to get my dunk. Because I've been in this exact spot, or where my opponent's at, the mass majority of times I played on this hole. Because I know the rolling off thing, you want to either stop right at the cup or be like where we're at. And this is one of those holes that I used to do the dunk on like every time. And they changed the dunk stuff, so it's easy now to bounce off of the flagpole. I wish you could pull the pole. Because if we were playing in real life, I would have my caddy pull the pole, pull the flagpole. In the hole. So I wouldn't have to worry if I was doing a dunk. I wouldn't have to worry about hitting the flagpole and bouncing out. So when I do dunks close up, I don't aim at the flagpole anymore. I aim to the left or the right so that I can miss that flagpole. I don't do dunks like I used to, just because they changed the dynamic on that and it's not nearly as much fun. All right, hole number 7. Hole number 7. All right, this par 3 right here, we have 3, well, really 2 ways that we can play it. We can play off of this right here. The deal here is, depending on which way the wind's blowing, it's very easy to end up clipping this rough. There is a rough bump that you can do here. And the rough bump here, over the years, has gotten better. Because originally the sand, see how it's kind of widened out, like the distance here is bigger than the distance here? Originally, the distance was equal all the way around, so the rough came up more like this. And the wind has blown the sand back, and we've got a little more rough here than we used to have. This was almost a sand rough, and I'm never a big fan of hitting into the sand on purpose to try and do a rough bump. But this shot has gotten a little bit better. The sand has moved back a little bit. I think that's enough players going out there and sweeping the sand back that we've helped it out. But you can take the shot from over here. With this shot right here, it's better with a bigger side spin ball. But I'm going to do the rough bump. And I can't remember. I know that there is a trick to it as far as wind adjustment, and I can't remember what it is. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. Whew, that wind blows. No pun intended. I have no idea where I'll be at in my club, so I have no idea which ball to bring or what club or anything. I'll bring this bag right here. And let's start off with, we'll just stick with the katana and see where we're at as far as where we're at. I do like the rough bump here. I've taken the other shot a bunch of times, and you can get in some trouble with the other shot, but you can have success with it. So this is really just dependent on where your clubs are at. Okay, there's max. So I can actually drop this down. Well, with that wind, this will give me a little bit of maneuverability. Hey, where I can see you, damn it. It's a 4.5 divided by 1. It's right at just a little shy of 5 rings. I'm going to move 5 rings. It's 4.95 rings. Getting it perfect. Let's see how close we can get. A little bit of an under pull. And I did a 10% adjustment there, so I'm not... I know that we used to do some kind of an adjustment there, but kind of give you an idea. And that was way off. I was like, if I'd have hit that if it would have been where it would have gone in on that pull, that was like a 2-ring grate to the left. So, which is funny because it doesn't look like it's downhill from where we're at, but it's not that far downhill. You got to see both sides. In the hole. I was trying for the trifecta, trying to get 3 hole-in-ones in the same round. I think I've only done that 1 or 2 times. I think I've only hit 3 Albies on the same side 1 or 2 times. Community cups. In the hole. All right, this next par 4 is, of the par 4s, it's the hardest of the par 4s, but it's absolutely makeable. It's all about getting yourself in the right spot on the drive. And I'm pretty sure we can play this with... I'm gonna set up either one of these bags. I'm gonna use my Kingfisher in both of these bags, so I'm gonna switch to my Kingfisher. I think I can get over there with my rock, and a katana will work. We could bring a kingmaker, but I don't think I need to. I'm going to bring a kingmaker, not because I think I need the kingmaker on the drive. I definitely don't. But if I'm using a kingfisher, it'll definitely help me with my distance with my kingfisher. And I'm going to start off with my rock bag. I may need to pop that to the extra mile just so I have more topspin. I don't think the distance on to the first bounce is going to be a factor, but the topspin could definitely be a factor. I've hit a ton of eagles on this hole. This is definitely an eagleable hole. Now, when this hole first came out, I thought, well, you know, there might be a max overpower hook shot that we can do where we can end up in this area right here, which really wouldn't gain us anything as far as distance to the cup, but we'd have a straighter in shot coming out, and I don't know that will make that big of a difference. But the max overpower hook shot didn't work here because of where the trees are set up. You will definitely hit the trees if you try a max overpower hook shot. There's some trees on the right hand side that are right in the way. That is perfect. 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 Plenty of room. .26. I think that's too much topspin. I'm going to roll out. We'll put it on there. This probably isn't the right club. I'm going to have to lean a little bit to the right, or excuse me, the left. My other right. Good enough. All right, that may put me, let's see where my opponent's at. That might put me in like mid club, maybe towards min. Oh, that might be right at minimum club. Hitting it perfect. See if they can get in the cup. Ooh, in the hole. Nice. Very nice. Right at minimum club. .5 divided by 1.2 rings. Now I need to hit it perfect. Hitting it perfect. See if I can get in the hole. In the hole! Woo! That first par 4, not catching the eagle on that first par 4. That first par 4 is one that we have to pick up. Like low, like I talked earlier, low hanging fruit. Mid par 4, first par 4. Those are the two pieces of the lowest hanging fruit. But this par 4 right here, if you put yourself in that spot, it is definitely makeable. Now, let's talk about that wind adjustment. Not using the app, doing it by hand. This is before my Hornet got upgraded, and my Kingfisher is in that same accuracy range. So let's go look at it. What is my Kingfisher? It's 94, so it's at 1.1 per ring. So 1.1, this is how I play. And hey, I'm not telling you this is right. I'm just telling you how I'm playing it. It's 1.1, 1.9, 2.2. That's how I play. That's how I play my my short iron. when it's at that accuracy. Don't ask. That's just how I play it. That's how I played it forever. And that's why when my Hornet went up, I switched all my math to, I went through the Golf Clash notebook and I wrote down numbers, and it changed some of the numbers on how I used to play these clubs, because I'd upgraded so many clubs that I was like, okay, I'll try out the Golf Clash notebook numbers. And for a lot of them, I don't know that it really makes that big of a difference. But for short iron, for some reason, the numbers that I used to use just seem much better. Much mo better. Okay, what hole are we on? Hole number 9. Okay. There are not very many of these holes in the game. Did I even go look at that hole? Did we even talk about that hole? We didn't. This picture does not accurately reflect the trees that are out here for that max overpower hook shot that I was talking about. I've seen some people where they'll try and lay it up out into this area right here and come at it. This really is the spot. That's the spot we should be shooting for. Oh, what was I thinking? Hole number 9. Why did I do that? Hole number 9. Okay, this hole was completely redesigned. And it used to be, we never, ever, ever hit to this side of the course. This side of the course didn't. You would lay it up out here, and this area was changed, and you try and end up on your second shot right here, and your third shot was a shitty shot to try and get up to get an eagle. I mean, it was a super hard hole to get an eagle on. There was no Albie shot. And depending on what you bring out, there's still no Albie shot. This hole is a birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. Not to say that somebody hasn't gotten an Albie on this hole, because you can get an Albie on this hole, but you've got to have everything go your way, and you got to have a little bit of luck on your side. And by a little bit, I mean like a dump truck that's got a train loading it. I mean, you got to have a lot of luck on your side. This was the hole, when I first started playing, that brought my Spitfire to life, because the whole deal is that it was super hard to get up into this area. You had to get all the way down into here with just mortal balls, and then catch this area right here, and then bring it around, and it was easy to overcurl it and bleed off into the rough, and anything that went wrong down here, you were screwed. So if you had a Spitfire in your bag, you could come out here with an extra mile, and you could pound the ball as far as you get it, and it didn't matter if you hit it great to the left or the right or what happened. You could pound your ball out into the sand, and with a Spitfire, you could get from here over here, and you could easily get into the spot. And so the day I got my Spitfire, I was like, wow, I came out here and started doing that shot, and I had a lot of success on this hole. And then when they redesigned it, we don't use this side anymore unless you're just desperate, where you end up in the wrong spot and you're just hitting it over here because you can get up. You're going to be coming out into this area. Now, the farther you can get, and I can't remember the distances, but it seems like it's over 400. The farther you can get forward out into this area, obviously the better it's going to be for you. My goal is to get one shot here, second shot on this pad, and then I've got a short little chip over to try and get the eagle. Now, you can get up here far enough that you can come up and where you can reach this, and you can actually try and go for the Albie, but you're definitely going to have to bring out a big power ball. Big topper works really well. This is one of those holes where, to get down into this hole right here, if you bring out a bigger power ball, your extra mile may be like out here. You can, if you bring out a big enough power ball, start on this side, and obviously that's ideal. But if you don't have any big power balls to start on this side, a big topper will work really well here, because you're not using all the power on an extra mile. You're having to pull it back from the red line in order to get into the right area so that you can get a forward bounce. So you'll typically net more yards with your big topper max topspin than you will with an extra mile. But this side right here is better, if you can get over there. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. And we've got a headwind, so it's probably, even if I brought out a power 5 ball, it's very unlikely that I'm going to be able to get to the other side. Let's set up a big topper bag. Whatever bag I bring, I want to make sure my second club is a Cataclysm. Or a big dog. Now, the problem with the APOC is it has more raw distance, but it doesn't have as much topspin as my extra mile, so let's switch this bag up. This is my somewhat utility bag. Let's take that Goliath out. Let's put in a Saturn. If I get to that point where I'm using my Saturn, shit went wrong. Very wrong. And I don't know that I'll be able to get up into that spot if I just bring out a power 3 ball. So we'll have to, I'll bring Kingmaker just because it'll cut the wind down a little bit. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let me make sure I got the right. I'm going to start off with, let's start off with this bag and see. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to get over to the other side, even if I brought out a bigger power ball. Birdie hole with an eagle opportunity. If the wind's blowing right, and you got the right balls, and you got the right clubs, it is possible to get up into and go for Albie. Or, you know, give yourself an Albie shot, but have like a pretty easy eagle. But like I said, you got to have a lot of stuff go your way. Now, they brought out a, no, that's a backspin, okay. A power 5, wind 3. No, that wind's not that bad. Let's see if they can get over to the other side. Hell no. Hell no. What the hell are you doing, dude? You're wasting a power 5 ball to do a rough bump on a drive? Come on, man. Dude. And I will tell you right now, that's not a good spot to be. I mean, you're on the fairway so you can get up there, but where you need to get with your second shot, that is not good. I'm going to put just a little bit of power and just a little, I mean not much power because I don't want to blast onto that. I don't want to overpower and clip the rough on the drive. It's going to be like 75. Seems like we need to get over 400. So that was 377. I was thinking 375. I think it's 400. I've been as far as like 420 on this hole. You bring out the right stuff, you get a big wind behind you, bring out a power 5 ball where you can get over to the other side. This will make it difficult to get up onto that area, but the whole goal is to bleed through this rough and end up on that pad. Now, if I get into this area right here, you still got a good shot, but if you're close, you're in your wedge, and you have a lot more options when you're close up. You don't necessarily, there's a rough bump you can do, or you can go at it. The farther away you are, the more you're going to have to use the rough bump. I did make it over to that. Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to do max overpower and max curl. And I'm going to put myself right here in the center of this so that if I hit a grate to the left or the right, I'm giving myself maximum opportunity to hit the fairway so that I can get forward movement. That is right where I want to be. Okay. Pretty standard drive, getting good distance. Ended up on the pad where I wanted to end up. I've done 2 shots now. This is definitely a 1 shot at a time. I've done 2 shots now to put myself in my wedge. And we got this big ass headwind. I have no idea where I'm at in my wedge. And they did all that work to end up in the sand. Okay, where am I at? There's mid. Okay, so 3.6 equals divided by 1. This is another one of those holes you do not want to roll off the back. Absolutely do not want to roll off the back of this green. Let me say that again. You do not want to roll off the back of this green. Hitting it perfect. Eagle in the hole. Now I was kind of in between mid and max. Max Rapier is 1.2. I did 1.5. I was a little bit back from that. So it was the win. 3.96 divided by 1.5. So it was 2.64 rings was the pool. I made a guess. I made an educated guess because I wasn't quite in the area, but it worked out getting the eagle. So minus 16. That's, I mean, obviously a little bit of luck there with the hole-in-ones going through it, but that's definitely a good round. And what's sad is that the second piece of low-hanging fruit on this whole course, this hole right here, we've got to pick that hole up. We've got to pick up all the par fours. We have great opportunities on all par fours. I think all the par threes, we've got great opportunities. Two of the par fives, one of the par fives, we've got a great opportunity for Albie. Hole number 9 is going to be a hole. This is going to be a hole that's going to ruin a lot of people's tournaments where they do well up to that point, and then they just fall apart. Hole number 9 can eat your lunch. So it's just all about being in the right area, but right ball combo, trying to get onto that little island so that you can get into your wedge range. And you could see right there when I was in my wedge where the hillside, if you're hitting farther back and you're in your short iron, it's going to be hard to get up onto the actual green itself where you can use your backspin to go at the cup where you're not involving the hill at all. And what'll happen if you're in your short iron, the farther back you are, the farther the distance is from the first bounce to the second bounce, and so these are stretched out, and so it's hard to start on the green. You're going to have to involve that hillside, and it can throw it off. And you do not want to overshoot this. There is a rough bump that you can do here, but this is definitely one of those greens that you can easily find yourself scooting past the cup. It's got that little glitch, and if you're on the backside over here, it's no bueno. No bueno. All right, that was the Milano 9-hole cup. I'd like to do that, and if I could do that in the weekend round, I think that's obviously a winning score if you can get in the weekend round. We'll see if we can pick up some luck. There's 2 of those that were the hole-in-ones. I can't expect that in the weekend round, but I would expect myself to be able to get all the par 4s. So, see what happens. Thanks for watching. Everybody have a great week. Have some fun, and I'll see you next time.